Standing Committee. Kindly stand up as your name is called. Mr. George Irwin M. Garcia as Chairperson, Commission on Elections for a term expiring on February 2, 2029. Vice Mr. Sadjamen Pangarungan. And of course, Mr. Carlo Alexis Bendigo Nograles as Chairperson, Civil Service Commission for a term expiring on February 2, 2029. Vice Alicia de la Rosa Bala. Okay. We will now proceed to deliberate the first appointee under consideration of this committee, the ad interim appointment of Mr. George Irwin M. Garcia as Chairman, Commission on Election for a term expiring on February 2, 2029 by Sadiaman Pangarungan. May we request Chairperson Garcia to come forward and take his designated seat. May we now hear Secretary Villarica's report on the status of the jurisdictional requirements in compliance with the new rules of the Commission and the rules of the Standing Committee and other relevant information about the appointee.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, Your Honors. The Commission on Appointments received on August 1, 2022, the ad interim appointment of Mr. George Irwin M. Garcia as Chairman of the Commission on Elections for a term expiring on 2 February 2029 by Saidamen B. Pangarungan, and was referred by the Chairperson of the Commission, Juan Miguel Mix F. Zubiri, to the Committee on Constitutional Commissions and Offices for its appropriate action on August 23, 2022, pursuant to Section 16, Chapter 5 of the new rules of the Commission. Likewise, the said ad interim appointment was broadcast over PTV4 station on August 3, 2022 at 6:53 p.m. and published on August 4, 2022 in two newspapers of general circulation, the Manila Times and Manila Standard, pursuant to Section 2, Article 2 of the Rules of the Standing Committees. Chairperson Garcia has complied with the submission of the mandatory documentary requirements on August 17, 2022, as provided for in Section 24, Chapter 6 of the new rules of the Commission. On August 30, 2022, your Secretariat received an unsworn opposition dated June 8, 2022, filed by Ms. Leonor Barcelon Whale. On September 6, 2022, your Secretariat received her sworn opposition to the appointment of Mr. George Irwin M. Garcia as the Chairman of the Commission on Elections. The appointee has submitted on even date his reply to the opposition filed by Ms. Leonor Barcelon Whale. Copies of the above-mentioned documents were already furnished electronically to the members of this committee. The oppositor has been duly notified of today's meeting. The said oppositor is present for today. That is all, Madam Chairperson, Your Honors.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please administer the oath to Chairperson George Irwin M. Garcia.
Chairperson Garcia, please rise and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding? So help you God.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Madam Chair, the appointee is now under oath.
Chair Garcia, you may now proceed with your introductory statement.
Mr. Senate President, Honorable Chairperson of the Commission on Appointments, Constitutional Commission, the honorable members of the Constitutional Commission, Commission on Appointments, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. During the conduct of the 2022 national and local elections, we were able to have 84.1% of the total registered voters who cast their votes on the election. 55,241,000 all in all out of the 65,700,000 registered voters in the entire country. It was so far the highest in the history of our country. Likewise, during the last election of 2022, we were able to have only 23 election-related violence, the most peaceful election so far in our history. Likewise, the Commission on Election received 83% trust rating from our people. We were able to canvass in less than 8 days to proclaim the senators and likewise to proclaim the members of the House of Representatives, the party list congressmen. The Senate as well as the House of Representatives were able to canvass the results in the fastest way possible in 2 days only, and was able to proclaim the winning president and vice president in just a matter of 3 days. Your Honors, this is but a little accomplishment on the part of the commissioner election. I was happy that I was a part of the Comelec at that time. We gained a lot of experience and a lot of course, there were setbacks, but the experience and the learnings that we acquired from the 2022 election is incomparable, and we will definitely use that under your present leadership for the purpose of ensuring that the 2025 election and the elections after that will be, if not co-equal to the 2022 election, at least will be able to surpass the same. What are the institutional reforms that the present leadership would like to accomplish? Number one, we would like to institute reforms as far as election laws are concerned that will govern the conduct of the election in our country. Number two, we would like to ensure greater transparency in all the operations of the Commission on Elections. Ang ibig sabihin po, wala pong aktibidad o proseso ng Comelec ang kinakailangan natatago sa publiko. Greater engagement with our citizenry, with all the stakeholders of election should be accomplished by the Commission on Election. Hindi po kinakailangang nagtatago kami ng kahit na anong bagay. At the same time, we would like to ensure professionalism in the conduct of our work, because we would like to instill to our people, to all our employees and workers, that we are performing a constitutional duty, not just a job, not just a work, but a constitutional duty provided for by no less than the 1987 Constitution. Sa akin pong palagay, ma-accomplish lang po namin, kung hindi man mahigitan, ang 2022 elections nung ating pong nagawang yon. Masigurado lang po natin that the people are able to vote and that their votes are counted and we are able to proclaim the right winners. To us, the duty of the Comelec is accomplished. And so, if given the chance, Your Honors, these are the things that your representation would like to accomplish before the Comelec. In the meantime, the Comelec is now likewise ensuring proper accountability in the handling of our finances, in the handling of the budget of the people's money. Kinakailangan sigurado rin po na tama yung paggastos namin at kinakailangan din po na mawala ang duda sa amin ng mga kababayan natin patungkol sa paggamit ng kaban ng bayan. Para sa akin pong palagay, napaka-importante lagi ang tiwala ng mga mamamayan, sapagkat ang isang demokrasya ay mabubuhay lamang at sisigla kung ang mamamayan mismo ay naniniwala sa kakayanan nito at ng kanyang pamahalaan. Magandang umaga po. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, Chairman Garcia. The appointee is now ready to respond to any comment or question from the members. May we recognize Representative Revilla?
Good morning, Mr. Senate President, Madam Chair, and to our Commissioner, Chairman from the Comelec. Sir, there was a mention about a written opposition filed against you by a certain Mrs. Leonor Whale. Even while this is not a sworn statement, the same has been distributed for the consumption of all the CA members. And the allegations therein contain serious accusations of acts of moral turpitude. It is but proper to give you, Attorney Garcia, the chance now to briefly air your side of the story. Please, we would like to hear your side.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Your Honors. Kinikilala ko po na ito ay part ng isang proseso, and therefore, I do not resent and I do not have hard or feelings against the oppositor. Nung pong ako'y for confirmation bilang commissioner ng Commission Election, naandyan na rin po yung opposition. It's a welcome development, but it's part of a democratic process. However, with all due respect, this, I believe, is a pure and simple harassment. For the last 12 years, I had received a lot of cases, not only from the Integrated Bar of the Philippines up to the Supreme Court, to the RTC, to the Court of Appeals, to the DOJ, to the Court of Tax Appeals, to the BIR, name it. I receive all of these cases and I survive all of these cases because all of these cases were dismissed with finality by the courts. I do not want to discuss the merits because I believe that this is not for this body, this is not the proper forum to discuss the same. But if under the Constitution, the basis will be merits and fitness and character and morality, Your Honors, I would like to take pride in saying that despite all the cases that I received from the oppositor, I did not file a single case against her, simply because I am a lawyer. And I know for a fact that if you will be filing a case, the other party will be getting a counsel, babayaran po niya, gagastusan po niya. Maaari po siya ay biktima ng circumstances that ng ibang tao but not necessarily this person. There several lawyers had told me, my own lawyers had told me to file a case or at least cases against her. I did not. In fact, Your Honors, this involves a property. The judge even castigated me and told me, why did you not proceed with the titling of the property? I said, until and unless there is the final and executory decision, that is the only time that I will start the process as required by the court. So, yan po, Your Honors, ang masasabi ko po. These were all decided by the courts with finality by the different departments and even by the Supreme Court. So, if the oppositor would like to take this opportunity now, this venue, this forum, then it's up to her. But I honestly believe that the members of this commission, a constitutional commission, will exercise the greatest prudence and the wisdom to determine and to separate what is applicable here and what is for the courts to decide. Thank you very much, Your Honors.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Just for clarification, so the oppositor filed cases against you at the RTC and you've already won that case?
That is right, Madam Chair.
And
Your Honor.
she has filed also an appeal at the Court of Appeals. And as you mentioned, you've already won judgment
That is right, Your Honor.
and up to the Supreme Court.
That is right, Your Honor, as far as the disbarment cases.
So the basis of the opposition was actually filed in the courts and you have won already on all cases and up to the Supreme Court.
Modesty aside, Your Honor, that you are correct.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, thank you, Attorney, for clarifying, of course, for the benefit of us new members of the CA. I know that you have a very good track record in terms of being an election lawyer and being an election lawyer of most of the politicians now who are seated. As Comelec Chair, I understand that you are out on a mission and you want to set reforms in your particular office. I would just like to find out, would you pursue the long-standing clamor to replace SMTT for the next national and local elections?
Yes.
Definitely, Your Honors, but however, I would like to respectfully be clarified that the Comelec is a collegial body. I do not want to preempt the action of the commission, but certainly this is one of the reform agenda that your representation, yours truly, would like to pursue and to proceed not only for the 2025 election, but likewise in the elections yet to come, under the guidance, of course, of our Senate and the House of Representatives and the Executive, more particularly the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee, as well as the Committee on Electoral Reforms and Suffrage, headed by the Honorable Senator Amy Marcos in the Senate, and the Honorable Congressman Dalog in the House of Representatives.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. That would be all. Thank you very much, Attorney. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Representative Revilla. Are there any more?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
the duty of this body is basically to make sure the competence and integrity of the person being nominated. Comelec Chairman George mentioned earlier among his plans, and we're happy, no? Most of the nominees don't even mention their plans, no? Just one quick question of concern of Comelec employees is yung problema po dun sa building nyo po, you know. I've been there and if there's a fire or an emergency, sad to say, baka marami pong maaksidente dun. What will be your plan as chairman in terms of, you know, fixing that problem of your office Will you be building? Will you be asking Congress for funds to rebuild that office into a respectable office of the commission? And what is your timetable? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Your Honors. Maraming salamat po sa napakagandang tanong na yan. Pagpasok po bilang chairman, pangit nga pong sabihin, subalit yan po yung isa sa mga nabigkas ko at paninindigan ko bilang chairman na kinakailangan magkaroon po kami ng building. Ang Commission on Human Rights, ang Civil Service Commission, ang Office of the Ombudsman, lahat po ng constitutional body, Your Honors, ay may sariling tahanan. Kami po sa Comelec ay nangungupahan sa Palasyo del Gobernador, 3 palapag. Doon po sa mga kalapit na mga gusali, inuupahan din po namin. We are actually leasing for an amount of 159 million a year. In 10 years po, that's 1.5 billion. And at the same time, for the entire country, we are actually paying 179 million, Your Honors. So isipin nyo na lang po yung kalagayan namin na nangungupahan at the same time yung pong aming mga warehouse. Merong sa Santa Rosa, meron po dyan sa may Philpos, meron po sa may Maguindanao Avenue, meron po sa may Pasig. Samantalang kung yung isang building lamang po at meron po kaming kulang-kulang 3 hektaryang lupain. Diyan po sa Macapagal Avenue in front of the Redemptorist Church. Amin po yon sa pangalan ng Commission Election. 8 palapag po ang aming na-envision na ipagawa na building. That will cost the government at least 8.2 billion pesos. And lucky for us, and we would like to really appreciate the President of the Philippines, President Bongbong Marcos, including of course the Secretary of Budget and Management, na binigyan po kami initially ng 500 million. It may be too small, that is right po. Pero alam niyo po, sa mga katulad namin na naninikluhod para magkaroon ng sariling building, napakalaki na po yun. We envisioned it to be constructed in 4 to 5 years. And hopefully, pag nag-file po kayong inyong mga candidacies, especially for national positions, hindi na po kami nyo makikita doon sa may Sofitel na nagre-renta. O kaya magpo-proclaim po tayo dyan mismo sa PICC dahil nagre-renta rin po kami. At yung aming pong random manual audit, nagre-renta po, lahat po nire-renta po namin because we do not have our own home. Alam po natin, tayo mga Pilipino, isa lang po ang ambisyon ng bawat pamilyang Pilipino magkaroon po ng tirahan o tahanan. Kami po nasa Comelec ay hindi po iba. Gusto rin po namin magkaroon ng sarili naming tahanan dahil kailangan po. Your Honors, for purposes of organizing everything and proper administration, a building housing the entire commissioner election is but a necessity. Definitely, Your Honors, we will be pleading with Congress to at least provide us with certain funds, even so small an amount, so that we will be able to construct even 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, it doesn't really matter. Maghihintay po kami hanggang sa maibigay po sa amin ang aming building.
Madam Chair, ano na lang last, no, you mentioned the trust rating of Comelec has increased because of the last elections. I myself is very happy, no, because normally after an election, kahit nakamalaki ang lamang, you get proclaimed 5 days after or longer. This time 2 days, no. I'm sure everybody experienced that, but of course we should not rest on that success. Kung pwede ngang 1 day or earlier, no. What is your plan with regards to the current counting machines? Diba? It's over 15 years old. What is your plan? Hindi dapat bang palitan na yan? I-refurbish yan? Because, while again you succeeded partially in shortening the time of the counting and proclamation, we should aspire for a shorter time. Gusto lang namin marinig po sa iyo, Mr. Chairman, Chairman George, kung ano ba ang plano nyo with regards to the counting machines that I think are already dilapidated and for replacement.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Your Honors. Tama po, yung pong 90,000 vote counting machines natin ay kinakailangan na pong i-retire. Katulad din po ng isang appliance sa bahay, katulad po ng isang refrigerator, kapag pumatagal na nating nagagamit at hindi na po lumalamig, kinakailangan na pong pasalamatan at isang tabi na po. Ganyan din po yung mga counting machines natin. 3 elections na po nila tayo na pagsisilbihan. And we honestly believe, based on technical specifications and technical reason, if we are going to use these machines in the 2025 elections, yung pong mga nakita nyo po na mga machine na pinupukpok, machine na kinakailangan lagyan ng electric fan para lang medyo lumamig, yung machine na kinakailangan pong pahintuin muna, o yung machines na medyo kinakailangan adjust kasi yung balota hindi na po kumakasya. All of these things will again happen in magnitude by 2025. And that's the reason why po we are envisioning to replace all of these machines. Kaya lamang po, Your Honors, hindi po natin, with all due respect, kailangan bumili. Sapagkat ang mga makina katulad po ng mga bakabagong teknolohiya sa katulad ng cellphone ay nagbabago after 6 months. Kinakailangan po, ang pinaka-effective ay mag-lease ng mga machines. Bakit po? Sa pag-lease po ang machines, hindi po kami magwe-warehouse. Hindi rin po kami magme-maintain. Mas mura po kasi ang pag-lease ng machines at sisiguraduhin lagi na nagpapaupa na bago yung mga makina na ibibigay at pagagamit po sa amin. But of course po, we will still be waiting, Your Honors, sa ating pong kongreso kung ano po ang gusto niyo pong klase ng makina, kung ano po ang specification na gusto niyo po para sa mga makina at yung hihintayin po namin ng guidance po ng ating kongreso. Nung pong nakaraang eleksyon ay meron pong naipanukala na tinatawag po nating hybrid election. Hihintayin po namin kung yan po muli ay maipapanukala o kung hindi po ay mauulit yung 2022 election. We cannot go back anymore sa mano-mano or manual election. Our barangay election will be mano-mano or manual. Pero for the next elections, 25 onwards, it will always be computerized election. Your Honors, it's not only about the speed in which we are able to get the results. It should be based on the credibility of the results. We will not stop doon po sa mabilis lang na result. Dapat po credible yung result na nakukuha po natin. Thank you very much, Your Honors.
Representative Marcoleta.
Salamat po, Madam Chair. One manifestation and one question. Let me start with the manifestation. There was an opposition filed before us, Madam Chair, as related by Representative Lani. I read all the cases filed in that opposition, Madam Chair. And I noticed that all the cases originated from one single transaction. And I noticed that in the RTC, Commissioner or Chairman George won by way of a summary judgment. What is the significance of that? A summary judgment is like a judgment on the pleadings. It did not even take the court a full-blown trial. At the very start, the court already noticed that the complaint did not tender any genuine issue on any material fact. And that's very important to us, just to disabuse the minds of the members of this committee. Nagpunta po sila sa Court of Tax Appeals, meron pa po sa DOJ, and then the aggrieved party did not rest. She appealed to the Court of Appeals, pero na-dismiss po lahat. Even the disbarment case, the Supreme Court even upheld the denial or dismissal of the case. So I don't think the complaint should be lodged before us because this committee will not be in a position to render a contrary determination. Hindi naman natin siguro pwedeng hindi pansinin po yung mga dismissal sa napakarami pong pangyayari. And I think Chairman George already won all these cases. In all the investigating agencies, all tribunals, and the courts, Madam Chair. So may I now go to my question? Commissioner George, former Commissioner Guanzon filed a petition before the Comelec. I think that was in connection with the substitution or her substitution to a previous nominee to a party list group. Am I correct?
You are correct, Madam Chair, Your Honor.
What was the result of the voting in regard to that petition?
If I'm not mistaken, Your Honor, because I was not a participant to that voting because I was no longer a commissioner. I think the voting was unanimous, 4-0, Your Honor, at that time.
4-0.
In favor?
There were only 4 commissioners at the time, Commissioner George.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the voting, I think, is 3-1.
I was not aware, Your Honor, with all due respect, simply because I'm no longer a part of the commission at that time.
Yes, I know, but I saw the copy of the decision, and the commission and bank voted 3-1. What is the significance of the 3-1 vote, Commissioner George?
In the case of Estrella versus the commission election, and as asserted by the Supreme Court in the case of Sevilla versus the commission election, the Supreme Court said that there must always be 4 votes in the commission election. And therefore, failure to attain 4 votes would mean that either the petition or the motion for reconsideration is deemed denied, Your Honor.
So the decision has no effect. That is what you're saying.
As far as that this jurisprudence are concerned, Your Honor.
And
Yes.
so because the decision has no efficacy, so to speak, the Comelec, I believe, did not issue a certificate of proclamation to former Commissioner Guanzon. Is that correct?
That should really be the case, Your Honors, Madam Chair, because if there is no majority reached by the commission and bank, 4 votes were not acquired, Your Honor, in that case, then no proclamation should be issued to anyone.
Do you know if there is a certificate of proclamation ever issued by the Comelec in favor of former Commissioner Guanzon?
To be very candid and honest, Your Honor, I'm not really aware, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Marcoleta. We wish to acknowledge the presence of Senator Lauren Legarda. Okay. Any more question? Yes. Senator Risa Hontiveros.
Salamat, Madam Chair, at magandang umaga po, Chair Garcia. Kanina po sa opening remarks nyo, binanggit nyo rin po yung accountability ng Comelec sa budget na ginagamit nito. So, during the national budget proceedings, hinandle ko po yung allocation ng Comelec nitong nakaraang 3 taon. At alam ko po na mula 2020 hanggang kasalukuyang 2022, may total po na 1.3 billion pesos ang inallocate para sa development ng Comelec information technology and software systems. So pwede po bang mag-provide ang chair ng update sa honorable committee na ito as to ano na yung na-accomplish sa malaking budget na ito so far?
Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair, Your Honor. As far as the improvement of our system and programs are concerned, Your Honor, mas malaking budget po, Your Honor, ang nailaan para sa automated election system of 2022. We were able to spend 2.9 billion pesos, not only for the rent of the machines, but likewise the other collaterals such as mga laptops, such as po yung mga servers, and such other collaterals. Meron din po kami, Your Honor, na IPPS, at the same time yung pong mithi na tinatawag na yan po ay prescribed po ng DBM. Likewise, Your Honor, if you can still remember, meron po kaming voters verification and registration system, as well as po yung aming precinct finder na inaamin po naman namin na kahit paano ay may mga ilang kapalpakan din, pero just the same po, 35,000 po na hits or 35,000 na attempts to intrude into that system hindi po nagawa because we improved greatly. Noong 2019, Your Honors, if you can still remember, ay yung aming pong sistema ay na-hack, pati po yung mismong precinct finder. But in 2022, 35,000 attempts were made to hack the system. They failed already because of our improved system. Likewise, Your Honor, meron din po kami tinatawag na AFIS, Automated Fingerprint and Identification System. Kung napapansin niyo po, Your Honors, sa inyo pong mga respective district and the entire country, kaya po namin ma-determine kung sino ang mga double registrants at mga multiple registrants. Kung halimbawa sa isa pong municipality ng Camiguin, pagkatapos po ay biglang pumunta sa kabilang municipality nang hindi po nagtatanggal ng kanyang registration sa pinanggalingan niya municipality, we can easily trace these individuals because of that AFIS na tinatawag namin, Automated Fingerprint Identification System. We are instructing our board, the election officers to cause the removal of these names and to charge persons who will be found to be guilty of double registration. And finally, Your Honors, internally po, Internally, we protected all our systems because nga po the Comelec is always prone to hacking by everyone. They are so proud that they can hack into the system of the Commission on the Election. Under our watch, Your Honors, we will never allow these things to happen. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Maraming salamat, Chair. Speaking nga po of voters registration at yung double o multiple registrants, context muna po. Kunyari may voter A, botante po sa Maynila. Pero pwede rin siyang mag-register bilang botante sa Quezon City, sa Navotas, sa Malabon, and so on and so forth. Dahil yung Comelec field offices, yung field offices po natin, ay hindi pa infrastructurally equipped para i-determine real time na si voter A, botante na pala ng siyudad ng Maynila. At almost always, yung Comelec main office ay nakaka-determine lang na si voter A ay multiple registrant na pala ng iba't ibang syudad pagka lamang dumaan na dun sa AFIS na binanggit din ni Chair. At siguradong pagkatapos nakaboto na pala siya sa mga sunod-sunod na eleksyon. So yung problema po sa voters list natin ay tulad ng dati, nananatili po siyang bloated. At yung effort na sa totoo lang linisin siya ay hindi pa naging prioridad. So, kung ito pong double or multiple registrants ay nadidetect po ng commission ng maaga at na-delist o natanggal ng maaga, then din po, kanina pinag-uusapan po natin yung budget ng Comelec. Mas makakatipid po ng resources ang Comelec din sa pag-print ng mga voters information sheets at yung actual na official ballots natin. So, paano po ng Comelec, ito po yung susunod na tanong ko, Chair, paano po ninyo makakurb itong perennial problem natin kaugnay ng voters list o ng book of voters kung kayo po yung taga-pangulo, yung chair. So anong infrastructure at particular anong digital infrastructure ang tingin niyo dapat gamitin para ma-detect real time yung mga posibleng double o multiple registrants?
Maraming salamat, Madam Chair, Your Honor. Alam niyo po, kahit po hindi i-improve yung digital infrastructure ng Comelec, nasa proper administration lang po. And we have to really look into Republic Act 8189. The solution really is, before po, halimbawa po, si A nag-register as a voter sa municipality or precinct na ito, before pong aksyonan yung kanyang registration ng ating board, kung tama siyang maparehistro, mailipat ang registration, the board will, or the election officer will always verify with the main office. Automatically, meron po kaming 5,000 o 200 halimbawa na nagpaparehistro. I-verify po kaagad namin before they can even act. Meaning to say, Your Honors, if this particular voter was found out to be a registered voter of another precinct, they will disallow that such registration. So yung board po may power naman po siya na iset aside yung registration kahit wala pong formal na opposition so long as meron pong due process observed, basta po na-inform. Number 2 po, Your Honor, ang isa pong nakita kong problema, alam niyo po ba kung anong kadahilanan, Your Honors, kung bakit ang mga patay ay naandyan pa rin sa listahan? Namatay na ng 2 taon, hindi pa rin po natatanggal. Samantalang ang bintang po ng mga kababayan natin, pinapaboto talaga ang mga patay. Pero ang katotohanan po ay ganito. Sa ating pong batas sa registration, tinatawag po natin continuing registration law, yung Republic Act 8189. Ang civil registrar ng bawat bayan nyo po ay required po na mag-submit quarterly ng mga namatay sa bayan na yon. Wala namang pong problema doon. Ang problema po, Your Honors, ay kapag po namatay sa bayan outside nung kung saan siya nakatira o nakarehistro. Halimbawa po, siya po ay from Camarines Sur, bigla po siyang namatay halimbawa dito po sa Maynila. Yung pong civil registrar ng Maynila ay hindi po mag-i-issue ng certification sa election officer ng Camarines Sur upang patanggal yung pangalan po. So doon po may problema po kami. So ibig sabihin po yung mga namamatay outside of the places where they are a resident or they are registered voters, hindi po natatanggal. So ano po ang solusyon namin? Ang solusyon po namin is dapat makipag-coordinate sa ating pong sa nasa statistics or sa national, sa Civil Registrar General. May problema pa lang po kami. For your information po, pinababayaran po kasi sa amin bawat isang namatay na kukuhanin naming information. Ang solution po dyan is legislation. We have to push for legislation that the civil registrar will be compelled in the national office to give to Comelec all the names of namatay sa isang quarter, sa isang buong taon. Kami na po ang magdi-distribute sa mga election officers namin, dapat po for free. Kasi po kung ₱5 bawat isang botante ang hihingin sa amin at may namatay po halimbawa kung ₱250,000 sa isang taon, ganun po yung babayaran namin yung honors at wala po kaming pondo para po doon. We would like to enter with sa kanila po sa isang MOA. Kaya lamang po, talidin po yung kamay nila kasi po certification po yun and therefore may bayad po kaya po alam namin. And so, kinakailangan po magkaroon lang ng konting pagbabago yung honor sa ating umiiral na batas. Yung infrastructure po, kaya na po naming matrace your honors. Kung namatay, kung lumipat, o at the same time, kung bagong registrant or dati na or double or multiple registrants po.
Salamat po, Chair. Actually, naunahan niyo sana yung follow-up question ko na hindi ba pwedeng may bilateral na lang na arrangement sa pagitan ninyo at ng Civil Registrar General. Mangangailangan pa pala ng legislation. Pero sige po, kung yan ang kinakailangan, well noted naman po yung ganong legislative agenda kaugnay ng RA 8189. Moving on po sa mga tanong ko sa mga paghahanda sa barangay election. Hindi pa. Tanong muna dun sa paghahanda sa barangay elections. Meron pong mga statements attributed sa inyo, Chair, tungkol sa dagdag gastos di umano ng gobyerno na mai-incur kung yung barangay at SK elections na scheduled muli ngayong taon ay ipagpapaliban muli sa susunod na taon. Pero parang kontra po yun dun sa previous pronouncements ng ilang mga leader namin dito sa Kongreso na ang sinusulong sana ipagpaliban itong mga eleksyong ito. Di umano para makatipid tayo ng mga 8 bilyong piso at ma-realign ito para sa ating COVID response. So, tanong po, pwede po bang ang chair mag-provide ng update sa komiteng ito tungkol sa current state ng mga paghahanda ng Comelec para sa December local elections at mag-provide din po ng opinion ninyo, Chair, kung dapat ba o hindi ba dapat itong electoral exercise ay ipagpaliban. Particular po with reference dun sa yung mga naunang statements ng Chair na yung postponement na ito ay magiging mas magastos para sa gobyerno.
Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair, Your Honors. Una po, ang Comelec po ay sobrang naghahanda na po sa kasalukuyan. Sabi ko nga po more or less 80% na po kaming natatapos sa aming paghahanda. Magpa-file na po tayo ng candidacy para sa October 6 to 13 para po sa ating mga SK at barangay candidates. At therefore po magsisimula na rin po ang election period pati gunban mula po sa October 6 onwards hanggang January 12. In a matter of less than 2 weeks, kami po magpiprint na ng balota. We would like to respectfully inform the honorable members of this august body that we will be able to complete printing the entire 92 million ballots for the barangay and SK election in a matter of 1 month po. Kaya po namin ma-print 1 month. 92 million po yun sapagkat ang kasalukuyan po nating botante, Your Honors, para sa regular election ay 67 million at para po sa barangay sa kabataan po natin ay 25 million po naman. So ang kulang na lang po namin ay yung print ng mga balota, yung pong mga gamit na kailangan namin katulad ng indelible ink, ballot boxes, katulad po ng mga ballpen, lahat po yan na-procure na namin and therefore yung pondo po namin ay naka-allocate na po sa bawat pagbili namin yon. Naghihintay na lang po kami na i-deliver yon at aprubahan ng NBank yung mga pagbili po nito. Huwag po mag-alala mga kababayan natin, anuman po ang mangyayari sa eleksyon, matutuloy sa December 5, 2022, lahat po ng na binili namin ay gagamitin din po kung sakaling ma-reset sa 2023 elections. Wala pong masasayang. Your Honors, kahit po yung balota na ipiprint namin, ginawa na po natin noong 2017. Nung nireset po natin ang election, ginawa po natin 2018. Yung pong lahat ng balota na na-print ng 2017 ay ginamit din natin noong 2018. Ibig sabihin po, yung mapiprint namin na balota na 92 million ay gagamitin din po sa susunod na eleksyon kung sakali pong hindi matutuloy. Sadya po ako po'y humingi na paumanhin sa ating Committee on Electoral Reforms and Suffrage sa House of Representatives. Ganon din po sa ating Senado nung tayo po'y nag-appear at sinabi po natin na sadya pong hindi makakatipid. Sapagkat yung budget po na meron kami sa kasalukuyan, 8.449 billion pesos, yan po ay eksaktong budget lamang para sa December 5, 2022. Nagsumiti po kami ng aming computation sa ating pong Senate Electoral Reforms Committee ng Senate and the House of Representatives. Sinasabi po namin na dahil po pag hindi natuloy ang eleksyon ng December 5, 2022, kinakailangan po kung yan po ay Mayo gagawin ng susunod na taon, kinakailangan magbukas muli kami ng tinatawag po natin na continuing registration na magsisimula ng October hanggang November kung po ito ay gagawin ng Mayo. Samantalang kung if we are going to postpone and reset the election by December of 2023, ito naman po ay magsisimula kami ng October muli, itong taon na to, ng registration of voters hanggang June ng susunod na taon. Ang aming pong projection, base rin po sa Philippine Statistics Authority, meron po kami hindi na-rehistro na mahigit 3 milyong botante. Na ina-expect po namin ay yan na magre-rehistro hanggang sa 2 buwan ng registration na yan. Samantala po, kung mag-extend naman po hanggang December, baka po ang magrehistro ay mga 5 hanggang 6 na milyon na mga botante. At dahil po dyan, ay naipaliwanag po natin na kakailanganin po namin ng dagdag na mga ballot boxes, dagdag na ballpen, dagdag na indelible ink, dagdag na presinto, dagdag na electoral board members at iba pang mga manggagawa ng bawat presinto. At syempre po, ipaglalaban po ng komisyon na madagdagan din po ang honoraria ng mga guro dahil ito po ay manual election. Tama po kayo. Madami po magsasabi, manual naman yan binibilang 400 lang ang botante bawat presinto. Pero alam nyo po, hindi lang naman po yung pagpapaboto mula umaga hanggang hapon. Hindi lang naman po yung pagbilang ng mga balotan manually na may mga watchers sa likod. Kung hindi po yung pagdi-deliver ng mga paraphernalia pagkatapos noon, alam niyo po ba ang paghihirap ng mga teachers ay pagkatapos dahil pumipila sila na napakahaba para i-deliver ang boxes, election paraphernalia na ginamit nila. So, sadya po, Your Honors, ay magpapadagdag po kami ng budget kung sakalin tayo marireset sa Mayo o kaya po sa Disyembre ng susunod na taon.
Salamat po, Chair. So medyo nagbago na yung original position na sinabi ninyo, bagamat may babala pa rin at may hiling sa Kongreso. Pero at least assured po kami, or ako at least, and baka ilan sa mga kasamahan ko dito, na hindi masasayang yung perang inallocate so far ng Kongreso at ginastos na ng Comelec para sa ganitong maraming paghahanda. At syempre naman, kung ipagpapaliban namin muli at magbubukas muli kayo ng continuing registration, mangangailangan nga ng dagdag na budget. At kami rin naman po, ang Kongreso rin naman po ang tamang makarinig niyan dahil kami naman din po ang nagpapasa ng budget law taon-taon. So salamat po para sa ganyang update, Chair. So ngayon po, babalikan ko yung sinabi ni Chair nung kanilang opening remarks tungkol sa electoral reforms at saka professionalism sa Comelec at kaugnay ng Comelec. Kaugnay po ng independence ng Comelec sa posibleng political influence at the local level. Actually, kaugnay din ng isang sinabi itinanong din ni Rep. Mercado Revilla kanina at sinagot ni Chair tungkol doon sa building ng yung pinag-usapan ninyong dalawa sa building ng Comelec main office. Iugnay ko na rin sa mga opisina o structures para sa Comelec sa local level at tungkol din sa independence ng chair mismo. Kanina po nabanggit ng chair na bukod sa binabayaran yung upa para sa central office, sa buong bansa ay gumagastos kayo ng 179 million pesos taon-taon para umupa ng mga opisina. Now, in accordance with Section 55 of the Omnibus Election Code, ang mga LGU natin ay required na mag-provide ng Comelec local, sa Comelec local officers ng office space. Kaya sa paghahanda ng eleksyon, ang Comelec election officers ay madalas inaasistehan din ng mga personnel na provided din po ng mga LGUs. So, sitwasyon po talaga ito na baka mag-lead sa unwarranted o undue influence ng mga LGU sa Comelec election officer sa performance ng kanilang mga tungkulin. At may mga panukala naman, yung isa po mula sa Lente, yung kanilang Comelec Integrity Bill. Ganitong mga panukala para i-insulate ang Comelec sa mga posibleng undue influence sa local level. At sa ganung paraan, ibinobolster yung kanyang institutional independence sa pamamagitan ng, among other ways, pagpayag sa Comelec na mag-establish ng sarili ninyong mga field offices at i-staff itong mga opisina ng sarili din ninyong mga empleyado. Pero syempre, magre-require po ito ng expenditure na aabot posible sa bilyong-bilyong piso. So, pwede po ba naming isolicit yung opinion ng chair tungkol sa panukalang ito na i-enhance ang institutional independence ng Comelec? Ito po ba'y tipong panukala na susuportahan ng chair at once makumpirma ng Honorable Commission na ito na balak nilang i-implement sa kanilang term?
Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair. Sadya po, tama po, number one priority po will always be the independence and integrity of the Commission election because this is what is guaranteed by our Constitution. Subalit, alam ko po, kayo pong mga kagalang-galang na miyembro ng komisyon na ito, nasaksihan niyo po yung mga opisina namin sa lahat, lalo na po sa mga probinsya, sa mga election officers. Mabuti-buti po kung sa Taguig po yun, o sa Tagaytay, o sa Las Piñas, o kaya kahit po hanggang sa Camiguin, magaganda yung opisina. Subalit, alam nyo po, yung mga opisina ng election officers namin, minsan nasa ilalim ng hagdan, tumutulo, wala na po mapaglagyan ng mga kagamitan. Diyan po sa Manila, overflowing ang lahat ng documents hanggang sa labas po, wala po talagang espasyo. Wala po kami ma-provide dahil napakamahal, wala naman po kaming kakayanan na mag-provide. But I will commit to all of you that before, hopefully, kung sakali po mapagbibigyan ng end of my term, at least the 17 regional offices namin, mapapagawa namin ang lahat ng mga buildings nila para at least integrated man lang po. Yung 81 provincial election supervisors offices po, mukha pong medyo napakahirap pong i-accomplish kaagad yun in the matter of 5 years, 7 years. Kasi po napakalaking amount po. And with more reason po, Your Honors, yung pong aming mga opisina ng election officers, minsan po nabibigyan ng mga local government units, minsan po nabigyan halimbawa po sa Caloocan, maganda, pinaayos, pero minsan po talaga hindi po kami nabibigyan ng mga ibang opisina. Kaya po nangungupahan yung ibang naming opisina, ibang local election offices namin. Tama po, isa po laging concern, Your Honor po, yung paano magiging independent ng Comelec ganung binibigyan ng opisina. Binililibre sa opisina o kaya binibigyan ng staff ng mga casuals para tumutulong. But I can honestly tell you po, na yung po namang mga casual sa halimbawa na tumutulong, hindi po sila nakakahawak ng mga computers. Hindi po sila pinapayagan dahil po ang password ay lagi pong nasa election officer at nasa election assistant. Meaning to say, they are just but limited to some administrative matters like during registration of voters, sila po ang mga pinag-aasikaso ng mga botante natin. Sila po yung nag-guide sa mga botante natin. Pero on substantial matters within the office, they will not be allowed. Ang inuuna po natin sa kasalukuyan, Your Honors, ay yung pong reclassification ng lahat po ng opisina ng Comelec, mga staff ng office ng Comelec. Meron po kami mga staff dyan, opposition, na hindi na po relevant sa kasalukuyan. Bakit ka po magkakaroon ng special investigator kung wala ka namang iniimbestigahan? Lahat po ng opisina, napakadaming ganon. So ang kailangan po namin yung mga makabagong kaalaman katulad po ng systems analyst. Pero kakailanganin po ng reclassification and reorganization because that will entail creation of the new office or naming the new office but increasing the salary grade. Alam niyo po ba pagpasok sa Comelec ng isang lawyer, salary grade 18 po. Sigurado pong naunahan na kami ng PAO. Sigurado pong naunahan na kami ng prosecutor's office bago pa man pumunta sa Comelec. Pagkatapos after ng mga 2 linggo, 3 linggo, aalis na muli sa amin dahil napakadaming trabaho. Salary grade 18 po ang lawyer sa amin at may biometrics pa. So, yun po yung kinakailangan mga pagbabago in order just to ensure that we'll be able to get and to harness the Filipino talents, especially in the field of law and in the field of public administration. But of course, kulang po tayo sa budget. Kung ano po yung naandyan, sisiguraduhin na lang po namin, structurally, Your Honors, na hindi mai-impluensya ng aming mga mga election officers, election assistants. Ang iba po dyan, 30 years, 35 years. And they were able to prove independence, neutrality, and impartiality. Thank you very much po.
Maraming salamat din po, Chair. Curious lang po ako para na rin sa initial na information sa aming Finance Vice Chair na ngayon ay magdedepensa sa budget ng Comelec. Wag na muna nga natin pag-usapan yung 81 election provincial offices na binanggit nyo. Yung sa 17 regional offices, meron na po ba kayong estimate magkano ang kakailanganin niyan over the next 3 or even 6 years para kung sakaling maitayo ng Comelec?
Madam Chair, Your Honors, ang isa pong regional office na 2 palapag ay aabutin po ng mga 60 to 66 million pesos. Pero sa kasalukuyan po, Your Honors, kinukuha po namin, hindi po namin ipinanghihingi po sa ating Kongreso, ikinukuha po namin sa amin pong savings, yung pong pagpapagawa. Ngayon po sa kasalukuyan, nagpapagawa kami ng 3 regional offices, especially po sa Iloilo, na nabigyan po kami doon ng use of rock sa paggamit ng lupa po doon sa isang area. So, kinukuha po namin yon, hindi po namin ipinanghihingi upang mas ma-maintain po yung pong pinapaliwanag niyo po, Your Honor, na independence of the Commission on Election.
Salamat po, Chair. Nag-quick ano lang ako dito sa calculator. Kung 60 million at the minimum times 17 regional offices, so 1.02 billion pesos. Okay, well noted po. Lastly po dun sa electoral reforms at professionalism, bago yung huling tanong ko, on the chair's independence. Ang chair ang isa sa top election lawyers ng ating bansa, having represented many prominent and influential clients sa buong width at breadth ng Philippine political spectrum sa kanilang maraming taon ng practice. At considering yung long practice ng chair sa election law, at pati yung sheer number at variety of clients na nirepresenta nila over the years, it's only a matter of time po talaga bago may kaso na involving any of these same clients ay necessarily darating po sa doorstep ng Comelec. So, while the chair has admirably demonstrated his willingness to inhibit himself from the deliberation of any case involving one of his former clients, na-foresee po ba ng chair kung magiging problema ito vis-a-vis yung participation nila sa deliberations ng Comelec unbanked?
Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair. Alam niyo po, napakarunong ng mga nag-draft ng ating saligang batas because they provided the Comelec with a collegial body. We are several in the Commission on Elections. At sabi nga po, binanggit ko po mga kaso kanina, at any given time, there must be always 4 votes. So, ang ibig sabihin po, ang chairman po ang kahuli-hulihang pumipirma. And therefore po, masisigurado muna na nakapirma yung mga ibang kasamahan ko po. Pero sa simula pa lang po, sinasabi ko na sa kanila that I will inhibit in these cases or in this particular case. Pinapanindigan ko po yun. Hindi lamang po sa cases that I handled before I was appointed as commissioner, but yung mga previous relationships ko po. I can siguro naman po mapapaliwanag ko sa kanila yung mga kliyente ko before, yung aking predicament sa kasalukuyan. Ang importante lang naman po, we must always be fair and at the same time, ipakita lamang po that the institution is fair. Not only that the chairman is fair and at the same time is able to discern what is right and what is wrong. Your Honors, I will always be guided by what is right and by what God had always told us to always do the right thing. Yun lang naman po sa akin. Ngayon po, kung magtatampo yung mga iba kong kliyente before, dahil sa hindi ako nag-participate sa pagboto, ang importante po, it is always the institution's interest that must prevail. Nung tinanggap ko po yung posisyon na to, Your Honor, yung mga sakripisyo naman po, napakasarap naman po yung practice din naman ng isang pribadong practitioner na sa isang kalagayan ko po. Pero isa na lang po inisip ko, Your Honors, para sa bayan na lang po kung bakit ko tinanggap ang posisyon na to. And so, I can commit to you, because under oath naman po ako, that I will always maintain the impartiality of my office and that the institution will always be independent in all its actions.
Kaya ako lang naman po tinanong yan, Chair, kasi nga sa dami nung naging kliyente nila nung nakaraang mga taon, sayang naman kung tingin nyo mag-i-inhibit kaya kayo 90% of the time or 80% of the time o hindi naman?
So far naman po, Your Honor, sa mga dumating na mga kaso, hindi naman po. Wala naman po. At gusto ko lang pong ipaliwanag. Yung administrative matter, especially the conduct of the procedure, hearing, etc., I will never inhibit because that is my constitutional duty, Your Honor. But during the time of the deliberation of the cases, if that will involve a former client, that is the time that I will inhibit myself.
Maigi naman po kung ganun, Chair, kasi sayang naman kung ma-deprive ang Comelec ng karanasan, karunungan na mayroon ang Chair, at least dun sa initial stage na binanggit nyo. So, to my last question po, tungkol sa fake news. Kasi yung Chair po has come out strongly against what is popularly or unpopularly known as fake news. At kinikilala nila na maaring yung fake news na yan ay magkaroon ng napakalaking epekto sa kondukta, sa resulta ng ating eleksyon. So sa huli po, anong konkretong steps, at least sa loob ng authority na ibinibigay sa Comelec, anong konkretong steps ang ipinapanukala ng chair na gawin para yung laban kontra sa election-related fake news ay mapalakas? Ito bang initiative ng chair ay may kasamang measures para kontrahin yung mga disinformation campaigns na ginagawa halimbawa ng posibleng mga foreign governments na gustong manipulahin yung electoral process ng Pilipinas?
Your Honor, I think it's high time that Congress should determine whether trolling should be now considered as a crime, as a separate crime by itself. Not only it may be punishable by our law on cybercrime prevention, but trolling should be considered as a separate crime. Number two, the Comelec will strengthen our relationship with Facebook, Twitter, and such other platform so that they themselves will be the one to regulate as far as fake news is concerned, Your Honor. Fake news is really a threat to our democracy.
I agree po. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat, Madam
Thank you very
Chair.
much, Your Honor.
Chair. This is not really a frank question, but a manifestation of support to my kababayan coming from Indang. Indang used to be part of our congressional district, Indang, Tagaytay, Mendez, Alfonso. So you're qualified fit for the job. But as promised, I have just one question. Isa lang po ito, for the record. Just want to get some of your thoughts. This is a slippery slope area that probably would let you traverse into some social media, you mentioned Facebook, etc., arena. Mr. Commissioner, I have here copies of my favorite documents of all the members of the commission. This is a certificate of candidacy. Minabasa ko lagi ito, maaga pa, pero itong certificate of candidacy, pare-pareho naman to eh. Inabot nyo na lang. The certificate of candidacy was crafted by the Comelec, right?
That's right, Madam Chair, Your Honor.
That's not yet part of my question. So it came out of a resolution, is that correct?
That's also right, Your
And
Honor.
then part of the broad powers of the commission is to revise, recraft this every time there is an election. So this can still be changed.
Yes, but it should be in accordance with Section 74 of the Omnibus Election Code.
Yes, correct. So ito po yung question ko. There is a Comelec Resolution 9366. And Section 6 thereof, letter M states, refers to organizations being accredited by the Comelec, that it shall not advocate violence or unlawful means to achieve its goals. Familiar with that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what I am thinking of right now is because of the enumerations in a certificate of candidacy, has it occurred to the commissioner's mind possible changes that would probably incorporate what Resolution 9366 has at the moment to synchronize everything? And to be direct now, Papayag po ba kayo na ilagay natin din dito? Kasi nakalagay dito sa Certificate of Candidacy, I'm a Filipino citizen, I'm a permanent resident, I am not a permanent resident or an immigrant of a foreign country. I have executed a sworn renunciation of foreign citizenship, etc. etc. Pababa po ito hanggang sa number 14, I give my consent to the Commission on Elections to collect data, etc. etc. Magtatanong sana ako tungkol sa Data Privacy Act kasi may consent na dito na pwedeng itapon nyo yung data namin. Ang pinag-uusapan sa Senado, si Senator Jinggoy at lahat na, yun na, i-scam kami. Ang daming mga, siguro, 0.5 question ko ito bago mabuo yung one question. Payag ba kayo maalis itong provision na ito na ipamigay nyo yung personal data ng mga nagfa-file ng Certificate of Candidacy?
If, Your Honor, if to the belief of the Honorable Senator that that will be violative of
Data Privacy Act.
the data privacy and the right to privacy of the individual, then the Commission will seriously consider such a
Yes.
suggestion.
Because the Data Privacy Act was enacted just recently, matagal na yung Omnibus Election Code, correct?
That's right.
So you will consider that.
March 5,
Baka
1980.
kaya na-scam siguro yung iba, kalat na yung data Pa-file yung mga kapitan, yung mga barangay kagawad. So you're amenable to that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. My 0.5 question, this is the last question. With the permission of the good chairperson, kasi ito yung naitanong ko sa privilege speech ko noon. And this is the slippery slope. Can it be possible for the last enumeration, for the last number, can this be placed? This is just, I'm just toying this idea. For the candidate to declare that I will not support any organization that advocates violence or unlawful means to achieve its goals and to overthrow the government of the Republic of the Philippines.
We will include that, Your Honor,
Wala pong problema doon, ano?
because that's what the law provides under Republic Act, even Republic Act 6646 and 9369.
And
Yes, Your Honor.
also your resolution 9366.
66. Yes.
So you're amenable to that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Again, Madam Chairperson, I reiterate my support, lest I be accused of being biased. I reiterate my support to Commissioner George Erwin Garcia, my kababayan from Indang, Cavite, to be the next. He is now on the verge to become the longest-serving government official in this room. Your term will last 2029. Ang haba na po nun. Baka gawa na yung superhighway natin papunta na Sugbo. So, Madam Chair, that's my only question. And congratulations to Chairman Garcia.
Thank you, Senator Tol. We recognize Senator Alan.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Just a manifestation, a biblical principle that tinuturo sa atin lahat at nabanggit ng ating magiging Comelec Chair, yung to follow God. Kung anong ating itatanim, yan din ang ating aanihin. And we all know that Comelec is a guardian kung ano ang itatanim or sino ang itatanim na leaders ng ating bansa. This representation is not a stranger to the evils of electoral fraud. Nung tumakbo po akong konsihal noong 1992, ang disqualification case ko MTC, RTC, Comelec, umabot pa sa NBank. Nung tumakbo po akong vice mayor, yung protesta po ay umabot sa tatlong huwes. At na-proclaim ako bilang vice mayor after ma-proclaim ako bilang congressman ng 1998. Noong 2007, I had the privilege sa awa ng Diyos at ng ating kababayan to be the first person to win a Senate seat despite the fact na may kapangalan. And worse, Comelec was not a guardian but was a participant because the Comelec then announced that yung kapangalan ko was disqualified just to announce during election day that wala pa yung 5-day period, so wag bibilangin pagka ang boto ay Cayetano lang or Peter Cayetano pag hindi buong pangalan na Alan Cayetano or Alan Peter Cayetano. I bring this up because there are some cases that bothered me in this last election. But I'm not going to ask questions, Madam Chair, because I don't want the commission to be accused of using our power or influence to influence the chair one way or the other, because some of these cases may be live. And our duty sa legislation is not specific cases, but the law and the justice. So with the permission of the body, I will also take this up during the budget hearing or the Committee on Electoral Reforms rather than in this body. Senator Jinggoy, who was the chair of this committee in the past during President Aquino's time, is reminding me that I do not have 5 days to question the chair because that was a previous chairman that I questioned. No, I hope that the questioning here enriches, the discussion. Malayo na po inabot natin. Marami pong nagreklamo nung 2019 na mabagal. Ngayon naman may nagreklamo masyadong mabilis. Pero hindi na nila alam at inabot yung eleksyon ng 1980s, 1990s. Ako na personally na nakita ko, pinapalitan yung election return na nandun yung pangalan ko sa harap ko. Wala pang cellphone noon, malalaki pang video. And I can say that Attorney George is one of the people nakilala talaga sa Comelec at sa practice ng election law sa integridad niya. Why can I say this? Because many members of this commission, si George ay naging abogado ng kalaban nila. And in fact, he was not an election lawyer for the president who won or for President Marcos in this election. So I think that is a testament that we believe in his integrity. So with that manifestation, Madam Chair, I think my vote is obvious. So thank you very much for that.
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair.
We recognize Senator Bongo for his manifestation.
Madam Chair and esteemed colleagues, pleasant morning to all of you. I would like to extend my utmost support for the confirmation of the ad interim appointment of Attorney George Garcia as chairman of the Commission on Elections, Comelec. Our appointee today is one of the finest and most sought-after election lawyers of today's generation. He dedicated his life to public service. At an early age, he was elected as member of SK in his hometown, Barangay Banaba, Cerca, Indang, Cavite from 1989 to 1992. Chairman George worked as a legal assistant at the Gomez and Association Law Office while taking up his Bachelor of Laws degree at the Lyceum of the Philippines University. In 1999, he was successfully admitted to the roster of attorneys, which was recorded as having the lowest passing percentage in the history of Philippine bars at 16.59%. A year after hurdling the bar examinations, he was then appointed as chief of staff to former Comelec Commissioner Julio De Samito, where he had significant exposure to the general practice of election-related laws. After his tenure in the Comelec, Chairman Garcia established his own law firm, the GE Garcia Law Office, handling various cases before judicial bodies, other courts, and quasi-judicial agencies. Chair Garcia's legal journey started to flourish when he obtained a favorable ruling from the High Court in favor of his former client, then Mayor Edward Hagedorn. His landmark case propelled his legal career to new heights, marking the start of his ascent as one of the most highly regarded election lawyers in the country. Indeed, he is a lawyer regarded and respected by many as, and certainly, an abogado de Campanilla. Madam Chair, without a doubt, his expertise and with the election-related laws are some of the many reasons he is highly considered for this post that That is why last Congress, former President Duterte appointed Attorney Garcia as commissioner of the Comelec. Then Commissioner Garcia became the face of the Comelec during the 2022 national elections. I once again congratulate Attorney Garcia and the Comelec for a generally peaceful and successful elections. Having said this, it is with great honor and privilege that I give my consent to the confirmation of Attorney George Garcia as
Pagkatapos ni
Chairman
Mark
of the
ulit,
Commission
tatawagin na kita
on
para
Elections.
masugot ka, di ba?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mabuhay kayo, Chairman Garcia.
Okay. Thank you, Senator
Very much.
Bongo. We now recognize Senator Amy Marcos for her manifestation.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chair. And this is just a quick manifestation as well as a plea for support. As a distinguished election lawyer and as the Comelec chairman, you are more than aware that the present set of election laws needs serious updates. The Omnibus Election Code derives from the year 1985. Wala pa nung automation, wala pang political advertising sa broadcast at kung ano-ano pa. To the extent that you're willing to commit time and manpower to help us in the Senate to recodify our election laws, may I count on your support. I have filed my own imperfect version, but nevertheless ambitious effort to have a new election code, and I count on the chairman and the commission's support.
Madam Chair, yes, Your Honor, we already printed your voluminous draft of the Omnibus Election Code. We are now studying it, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you very much. I hope it doesn't take as long as it has taken for the original Omnibus Election Code. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Amy. We now call on Senate President Subiri for his...
Senator Grace.
Sabi niya, hindi siya
Senator
magtatanong.
Grace po. Manifestation.
Okay.
And then Senator
Grace po.
Senator Estrada, manifestation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would also like to express my 100% support to the confirmation of this particular nominee, Attorney George Garcia, as chairman of the Comelec. But I only have one question, Mr. Chair. Bayad na ba kayo sa hotel? Yung pinagkakutangan nyo? Sa Sofitel?
Madam
Pinag-uusan ng presidential debate?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, hindi po kasi ang Comelec ang kakontrata po ng Sofitel ng hotel, kung hindi po yung company. And we promise you, Madam Chair, we were going to announce the result of our fact-finding investigation in a matter of days tungkol sa kung ano talaga nangyari at kung sino ang may liability sa lahat ng mga pangyayari.
Bakit po nasibak yung spokesperson ng Comelec?
Nag-early retirement po siya, Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Not connected with the non-payment of the hotel?
Not related po, pero we will come up with the findings, Your Honor.
Okay.
Anytime soon.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Senator Estrada. We now recognize Senator Grace Po for her manifestation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, yung mga tatlong katanungan ko sa'yo ay nasagot mo na dahil natanong na unang-una yung barangay SK election, bakit naging mas mahal, nasagot mo ng maayos. Tungkol naman doon sa loan oppositor, na-explica ni Congressman Marcoleta na ang may jurisdiction dyan ay mga korte at na panalo mo na lahat. At ang pangatlo ay yung Comelec building. Lahat nga tayo ay kailangan ng tahanan, pati naman ang Senado ay ganun din ang aming pakay na magkaroon nga ng isang lugar. Tanong ko lang dun sa Comelec building, bakit palaging nasusunog yung building na yan?
Madam Chair.
Alam mo, parang pag merong issue, nasusunog eh. 2004, pagkatapos nun, alam naman natin ang naging mga hamon ng 2004, nasunog yung Comelec building. Kung kailan lang nasunog ulit. Ano pa? Ano bang meron doon?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, sadya pong pag nakadating kayo sa bawat opisina namin, sadya po talagang konting spark lang, masusunog na yung buong building. wala po kami talagang space. Sobra po yung aming, konti na lang po yung space namin. Hindi na po makalakad yung mga tao. And so fire hazard na po talaga yung buong lugar kung saan kami meron ngayon, Madam Chair.
So, ano yung cause ng last fire?
Ano po, overloaded po yung mga saksak ng mga doon po sa mismong linya ng kuryente.
Nako, dapat siguro mapacheck natin yun habang wala pang building. Ilan lang talagang may expertise sa election law at kayo ay kasama doon. Kaya nga hindi po mapapagkaila na natulungan ninyo ko at yung amin din dito sa Senado na dalawang magkatunggali noon ay pareho mong narepresenta. Marami ka ng mga kasong naipanalo at sa tingin ko nakikita namin kung bakit ganon. Ngayon ay nadidepensahan mong iyong sarili at it's high time that you win your own your I guess your own case before the Commission on Appointments, and I would also strongly urge our colleagues to give you the support. So that's all, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Grace Poe. We now recognize Congressman Pimentel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, I have no questions to the nominee. This is just a manifestation. And may I be allowed to read my manifestation, Madam Chair? The Commission on Elections is the constitutional commission having the role in enforcing all the laws and regulations relative to the conduct of the Philippine elections. It operationalizes Section 1, Article 2 of the Constitution, which holds that the Philippines is a democratic and republican state. Sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanates from them. At the helm of the Comelec should be a lawyer who is adept and skilled in upholding this lofty principle. Before us is Chairman George Garcia, who is arguably an embodiment of the same. One who is no stranger to government service and dubbed as veteran election lawyer. Chairman George stewarded the Pleb Manila District 1. He also served as special investigator, executive assistant, and later as chief of staff in the team of Commissioner Julio Disamito. Early on, he was also elected in the Sangguniang Kabataan elections and served as SK member in Cavite. The legal acumen of Chairman George is also known in the practice as one which has established landmark cases in election law, among which is his advocacy for Mayor Edward Hagedorn in Socrates versus Comelec. As a professor of law, he has enriched the young minds of legal learners and future members of the vocation when he taught law from 1992 to 2022, Madam Chair. He is professor in Lyceum of the Philippines, pamantasan ng lungsod ng Maynila, Manila Law College, De La Salle University, and the Philippine Law School. He is also a lecturer in the mandatory continuing legal education and a primary resource speaker for election laws. He is lauded for his pro bono work as a host for both Juntahang Legal and UNTV Poll Watch for his efforts to bridge the gap between ordinary Filipinos and the laws by conveying its contents in a clear, simple, and practical terms without deviating from the law's true intent and purposes. Members of this august commission, it would be a disservice to the Filipino people if we deny or preclude Chairman George from serving the Commission on Elections. Let us pursue the path of service. Let us choose the election lawyer who has served and shall continue to serve the noble mandate imposed by the Constitution. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Pimentel. We will now hear the last manifestation from our Senate President Subiri.
And Congressman Vic.
No, siya ang tatawag. Ikaw magmumove.
Yes.
Ikaw magmumove.
Thank you, Madam Chair. After which I'm sure the chairman of the House panel, our vice chair, will also be recognized. Would you want to be ahead of me, sir?
Okay.
Okay. Si Macarolita muna.
Okay. So we recognize Congressman Marcoleta, the chairman of the committee of chairman of the House contingent on the CA. Oh, ikaw. No, Marcoleta. Sino una? So we recognize Congressman Marcoleta. Nalilito na ako sa kanila.
Thank you,
Congressman
Madam Chair.
Marcoleta.
Yes, ma'am. This is in connection with the opposition filed against Chairman George Garcia, Madam Chair. We would like to appeal to the sense of understanding of the oppositor because, as I have said earlier, this representation thoroughly reviewed all the cases filed against the subject of today's confirmation hearing. And it really went through the legal processes, several tribunals, investigating agencies, found out that there is no case against him. In the RTC, it was decided on a summary judgment. Then even the Bureau of Internal Revenue did its own, filed its own complaint, but just the same, this complaint were dismissed. With the Court of Tax Appeals, the same thing, Madam Chair. And these cases became final and executory. And I'd like to say that this particular forum will not be the proper forum to render a contrary opinion or decision, meaning to say we cannot do anything about the cases that have been finally litigated. And I think we should finally put them to rest. And if the oppositor is present, we appeal to her sense of understanding that she cannot forum shop. This body is not the one that will render a contrary determination of the case that have been finally decided and determined by the proper courts and tribunals in the respective jurisdictions, Madam Chair. Salamat po.
Thank you, Representative Marcoleta. We now recognize Congressman Gico, the chairman in CA of the House of Representatives.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The House contingent to the Commission on Appointments expresses its utmost support for the appointment of Attorney George Erwin Garcia as chairman of the Commission on Elections. He has proven before this august body that he has the experience, skills, and integrity demanded by the position. It is our earnest prayer that Attorney Garcia continues to perform excellently as chairman of the Commission on Elections. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Gico. Now we hear the manifestation of the Senate President Subiri.
To my dear compadre, who I've known for decades already, the position that you will hold as chairman of the Comelec, knowing fully well that that office is the bedrock of our democracy, in charge and tasked to make sure that the elections are safe and accurate. I know fully well, Your Honors, my distinguished chairperson, that this man was born for the job. Napakagaling ng sagot. Sa totoo lang, in my 7 years in this commission, this is probably the first time I've heard a appointee so knowledgeable and he answers so correctly on these issues. Mahaba lang po yung mga sagot. Mahaba lang. Pero, napakagaling ng mga sagot ng ating nominee. He has a plan for his employees. He has a plan of action for the next election. He has a plan to modernize the counting machines. He has a plan for his new home, for the bedrock of our democracy, the Commission on Elections. Wala na po tayong masasabing iba. That's why, huwag na natin pong patagalin ito. Madam Chair, I move for the approval on committee level on the nomination of the ad interim appointment of Chairman George Garcia.
Second the motion.
Second.
Second.
Second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve in the committee the confirmation of Chairman George Garcia. Kung wala nang mga tanong, and congratulations to Chair Garcia, you may now be excused. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Honors.
Nawala.
0.5 lang naman yun. 0.5. Kay Mix, 0.5 lang naman yun.
0.5. Wala akong tanong. Ano lang. Kaya tama ko lang mahaba yung sagot, pero
We will now proceed to deliberate the second appointee under consideration of this committee, the ad interim appointment of Mr. Carlo Alexi Berdigo Nograles as chairperson of the Civil Service Commission for a term expiring on February 2, 2029, Vice Alicia De La Rosa Bala. May we now request Chairperson Nograles to come forward and take his designated seat? Okay. And may we now request Secretary Villarica report on the status of the jurisdictional requirements in compliance with the new rules of the commission and the rules of the standing committee and other relevant information about the appointee. Secretary Villarica. You may now sit down.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, Your Honors. The Commission on Appointments received on July 7, 2022, the ad interim appointment of Mr. Carlo Alexei Bendigo Nograles as Chairman of the Civil Service Commission for a term expiring on 2 February 2029, Vice Alicia De La Rosa Bala, and was referred by the Chairperson of the Commission, Juan Miguel Mix F. Zubiri, to the Committee on Constitutional Commissions and Offices for its appropriate action on August 23, 2022, pursuant to Section 16, Chapter 5 of the new rules of the Commission. Likewise, the said ad interim appointment was published on July 28, 2022 in the Manila Times and on July 21, 2022 in the Manila Standard and broadcast over PTV4 station on even date at 7 p.m. pursuant to Section 2, Article 2 of the Rules of the Standing Committees. Chairperson Nograles has complied with the submission of the mandatory documentary requirements on August 25, 2022 pursuant to Section 24, Chapter 6 of the new rules of the Commission. The Secretariat has received endorsement letters supporting the confirmation of the ad interim appointment of Mr. Carlo Alexei Bendigo Nograles as Chairperson of the Civil Service Commission from 1. The CSC Commissioner Eileen Lourdes Lizada, from CSC Commissioner Ryan Alvin Acosta, and 3. Officials and employees of the Civil Service Commission Central and Regional Offices. Moreover, on September 5, 2022, your Secretariat received the sworn opposition on the ad interim appointment of Mr. Carlo Alexei Bendigo Nograles, dated September 1, 2022, filed by Mr. Hermenegildo C. Cruz. The appointee has submitted on September 6, 2022, his reply to the said opposition. Copies of the above-mentioned documents were already furnished electronically to the members of this committee. The oppositor has been duly notified of today's meeting. The said oppositor is present for today. That is all, Madam Chairperson, Your Honors.
Madam Secretary, please administer the oath to the Chairperson, Carlo Alexi Nograles.
Please rise and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings? So help you God.
I do.
Madam Chair, the appointee is now under oath.
Thank you very much, Chair Nograles. You may now proceed with your introductory statement.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Senate President Juan Miguel Mig Zubiri, Honorable Chair Cynthia Villar, Honorable Vice Chair Ramon Guico Jr., Honorable members of the committee, fellow workers in government, mga kababayan, maayong buntag, paingon sa maayong udto kaninyong tanan. I appear before you for the second time around. Grateful once again for this opportunity to present myself for your consideration and cognizant of the power vested on the Commission on Appointments, as enshrined in Article 7 of our Constitution. I therefore humbly present myself and my credentials to this honorable commission with the hope of winning over the support of its majority, preferably all of its members, for confirmation of my appointment. I am Carlo Alexei Bendigo Nograles. Currently, I serve as ad interim chair of the Civil Service Commission, the core values of which I personally believe in and professionally uphold: love of God, love of country, excellence, and integrity. I was raised by a dutiful father of unparalleled commitment to family and public service, and by a very prayerful mother who was an educator and a guidance counselor. Both of them instilled in me the strength of my faith, which I carry on to this day. This was reinforced by my Jesuit education in the Ateneo, from nursery to elementary, and from college to law school. My 4 crucial years of high school were spent as a government scholar at the Philippine Science High School in Diliman, where we were taught to value our education as a gift that we should give back through service to our country and the Filipino people. My educators from these 2 premier institutions, and of course my parents, emphasized a relentless pursuit of excellence and a constant practice of unwavering integrity in all things I do. Nag-umpisa ako manilbihan sa gobyerno noong 2001 sa House of Representatives bilang isang Chief Political Affairs Officer. Kasabay nito ang aking pag-aaral ng law hanggang sa ako'y pumasa ng bar exams taong 2003. I practiced my profession as a lawyer for 6 years, while continuing to serve as Chief Political Affairs Officer from 2004 up to 2010. Ang inyong lingkod ay nagbigay ng libreng serbisyong legal para sa mga mahirap at nangangailangan nating mga kababayan, at naisakatuparan ko ito kasabay ng pagpapalakad sa district office ng nooy Majority Leader at kalaunay naging House Speaker na si Congressman Prospero Boy Nograles. At one point in his career in Congress, my father Boy Nogi also served as head of the contingent of the House to the Commission on Appointments. Noong 2010, ako po'y pinalad na mahalal bilang kinatawan ng unang distrito ng Davao City. At nakasabay ko nga po ang iba sa inyo na manungkulan sa Kongreso sa loob ng 3 termino. In my second term, I was elected as chair of the Committee on Labor and Employment, and together with fellow legislators, we championed landmark laws such as Green Jobs Law, the Job Start Philippines Act, the law strengthening our National Labor Relations Commission, the law institutionalizing public employment services or PESO offices in all provinces, municipalities, cities, and other strategic areas, the law strengthening and expanding the special program for employment of students, and the law protecting our seafarers and other workers from ambulance chasing, among others. During my 3rd term in Congress, I was elected as chair of the House Committee on Appropriations, and again worked closely with co-legislators in ensuring funding for free higher education law, the national ID system, free irrigation for small farmers, the modernization of the Philippine National Police and Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Universal Healthcare Law, the Cancer Care Support Bill or law, among numerous other laws that needed budgetary support. Noong November 2018, ako po'y nabigyan ng pagkakataong magsilbi sa executive branch naman, kung saan naging bahagi po tayo ng gabinete ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte. As Cabinet Secretary, I was tasked with crafting the agenda for cabinet meetings and ensuring the close coordination of all government agencies in carrying out presidential directives. In my role as CABSEC, I also served as chair of the Cabinet Assistance System, head of the Cabinet Cluster Secretariat that monitors the resolutions and actions of different clusters of government. And by virtue of an executive order, the President also entrusted me to lead the Interagency Task Force on Zero Hunger, which crafted the country's first national food policy, our roadmap to ensure the attainment of zero hunger, consistent with the Philippine Development Plan. When COVID-19 hit our shores, I was also selected by my peers to co-chair the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF. I would preside over the IATF meetings, steering the body as we formulated national policies and action plans to lead government efforts in addressing the pandemic. For a short while, I was also spokesperson for the IATF. On November 15, 2021, I was designated as acting presidential spokesperson until I was called on by former President Duterte to chair the Civil Service Commission on March 4, 2022. I took my oath before President Duterte on March 7 and officially assumed my post as ad interim chairperson of the Civil Service Commission on March 8, 2022. Then I stepped down as chair upon adjournment of the 18th Congress last June 2022. Fortunately, I was once again called and sworn in as chairperson of the CSC by President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. on June 30, 2022. In the combined period of more than 5 months that I have served as ad interim chair, I've seen the passion and dedication of our civil servants in the CSC to fulfill their mandate despite the challenges posed by the pandemic. And this is best exemplified through the various programs, policies, and accomplishments of our commission since I assumed my post. To name a few, the safe on-site conduct of 3 civil service professional and sub-professional examinations last March, June, and August of this year. The conduct of the fire officer exam, the penology officer exam, basic competency on local treasury examination, the intermediate competency and local treasury examination, the career service examination for foreign service officers. A 93.59% resolution rate of received and referred complaints via our contact center ng Bayan. A 98.51% overall satisfaction rating from customer feedback and the satisfaction survey among 16,000 respondents. A 100% complaints referral rate. Providing learning and development programs for government workers, promulgation of policies on flexible work arrangements for government workers and officials, the evaluation of nominations for the 2022 Search for Outstanding Government Workers, and the selection of beneficiaries to the Pamanang Lingkod Bayani, our corporate social responsibility undertaking recognizing civilian public servants killed in the line of duty. Under this new commission, Madam Chair, Your Honors, I'm committed to working towards a CSC that is future-ready in public service delivery. This we will achieve through better ways of doing business by modernizing the modes of service delivery through digitization and digitalization of systems and processes. We will pursue the conduct of our digital maturity assessment and the development of our digital transformation roadmap. We shall transition to electronic personal data sheet or EPDS utilization and improve and timely update the inventory of government human resource. We endeavor to institutionalize a bureaucracy-wide human resource information system that will integrate the HRMIS system of the entire bureaucracy to reduce repetitive HR transactions through automation. Our ambition for the civil service exams is to expand the conduct of computerized exams while studying the feasibility of conducting exams online. Even for the appointments process, we envision to shift this to digital and online. On enabling our public human capital's professional development and growth through learning and development initiatives, the CSC shall work on the implementation of an online learning management system and update the competency framework for our public sector. We must be able to properly identify core competencies, leadership competencies, organizational competencies, and functional competencies so we can correctly conduct competency assessment as our basis for learning and development, recruitment, selection, placement, and other HR interventions. To improve our services, these competency assessments and training needs assessments must also be made available online. Our mission is to take care of our civil servants and to make civil service a truly rewarding and professional calling. Your Honors, I've always believed that we are all born into this world to serve in whatever capacity we can and to create good in the lives of others. As I stand before this august body, I am committed to maximize my education, experience, and life lessons to the best of my ability to lead the transformation of our CSC with the support of all the hardworking and dedicated civil servant heroes of the Commission. Together, we at the CSC strive to realize our outcome of a professional government workforce composed of the most competent, technology-able, and adaptive civil servants, future-ready, and in all ways serving Filipinos better. I've submitted all my personal and professional details in the documentary submissions. I humbly submit myself for your consideration and pray for the opportunity to continue my service. Sana po sa pangalawang pagkakataong ito, makuha ko na po ang matamis na oo ng Commission on Appointments. I'm now ready to answer any questions or clarifications. Thank you very much for this hearing, Your Honors.
Thank you very much. The appointee is now ready to respond to any comment or question from the members. Are there people? Yes, Congressman Sagabaria. Okay.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Mr. President. To our incoming Commissioner of the Chairman. Well, Mr. Chairman, as I say, I have a proposed bill pending in Congress. It has been there since 2016. Well, nothing has happened. Well, until now. I would like to hear your comment on this. About creating a human resource management office in every city and municipality in the whole country. What can you say about this?
That's a very laudable initiative, Madam Chair. In fact, it is one of the priority legislations to be submitted by the Civil Service Commission before Congress. The idea is to create an HRMO office in all cities and municipalities. But for 4th class and 5th class municipalities, at least a permanent HRM officer. This is a priority legislation. If given the chance and the blessing of the Commission on Appointments, I will be leading the delegation of the CSC in presenting this to Congress, the House of Representatives tomorrow, and next week before Senator Bong Revilla as he chairs the commission, the committee handling Civil Service Commission.
So in addition, so tomorrow you will go to Congress and you are going to present this idea of creating such. Am I right?
Yes, during the organizational meetings in both committees in the House and Senate, we will be manifesting our full support for that very laudable bill. And I hope that under this Congress, it will become a law.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Sagabaria. Are there any? We now recognize Senator Risa Hontiveros.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Buntag, Chair Nograles. First, sir, on precarious work in the public sector. In an interview, Commissioner Eileen Lizada mentioned that there are 150,000 unfilled positions in the civil service, while 633,000 more positions are covered by job orders and contract of service o JOs at saka COS. And yung 150,000 po is just under 10% of the current total of 1.8 million government workers. On the other hand, the 633,000 covered by JOs and COSs mean that about a third of the people doing work for government hold contractual positions, a very precarious position to be in. Considering these numbers, the hiring policies of government seem to have normalized precarious work and put workers covered merely by JOs and COSs in situations that might lead to exploitation and abuse. And at the very least, Chair, these policies deny around a third of workers in the public sector from enjoying the benefits and stability of regular employment. So could the committee please know if the Chair is comfortable with this state of affairs in the civil service? And may we know how he intends to widen the opportunities for regularization available to workers holding JO and COS positions, and thereby include these workers within the ambit of government social protection programs?
Thank you for the question, Madam Chair. It is the position of the Civil Service Commission to actually have more of these vacancies filled up. Ang position po ng civil service is we can provide better protection to our government workers if they are made part and parcel of the plantilla. That means makapasok po sila sa civil service. Nasa interest po ng Civil Service Commission na makapasok po sila sa civil service. That being said, ang aming commission po are finding ways and means drafting policies, passing policies to enable without sacrificing, of course, yung merit and fitness. No? Because that has always been the primordial standard, no? Namin sa civil service, papasok dapat based on merit and fitness. But that being said, syempre, gusto namin mas marami po ang ma-hire, mas maraming vacancies ang ma-fill up. Yung sa JOs and COs, unfortunately, that issue by itself is something more within the ambit po ng COA at ng DBM. Only because it is charged on a different budgetary item, which is MOOE. Kami sa civil service, papasok kami pag PS na po, personal services na po ang ginagamitan na item ng budget. So yes, we are looking for ways and means for more civil servants to be able to pass for them to enter civil service, and we will continue to push for more of our the vacancies, the current vacancies, to be filled up, and for more civil servants, for more of our fellow Filipinos to enter into civil service.
Salamat kaayo, Chair. I'm really very glad, and I'm sure the government unions or associations are very glad to hear the Chair's desire to fill up the unfilled positions, of course, without sacrificing merit and fitness. But I was actually thinking also more about the possibility that the commission, the CSC, is considering filling up those unfilled positions with some of those meritorious and fit who are now only under JO and COS arrangement. So just thinking aloud lastly on this particular question, Chair, is there any possibility na ang CSC will work something out with COA and DBM to properly enable this kind of intra-bureaucracy change of status to happen?
Yes, actually, yung latest issuance ng DBM at COA po states na hanggang December 31, 2022 na lamang po, no? And hopefully the agencies will now start absorbing more of the JOs and COs by by end of this year. Ayoko pangunahan ano maging desisyon ng DBM at ng COA, but there's also an ongoing discussion now with CSC together with DBM and COA in terms of what or how they will act on that issuance. Kung anong next steps nila dun sa issuance na po na yun. So we've been told that DBM and COA is currently discussing that, and kami naman po sa CSC, we're more than willing to lend a hand or even give our inputs, no? Again, ang stand po ng CSC is that we obviously want more vacancies to be filled and more Filipinos to enter to civil service.
Thank you, Chair. It's really good to hear that there is at least such an ongoing discussion at aasahan ko na yung inputs ng CSC sa discussion na iyon will be guided by that spirit expressed by the Chair, the desire to fill up more of the positions based on merit and fitness. With respect po to social safety nets and other benefits, so to cite just one example, is it true po that the CSC has opposed proposals to include workers covered by JOs and COSs within the coverage of the expanded maternity leave law?
Again, not in this present commission. We've not spoken about it. There's really no opposition from this commission per se. Ang sa amin lamang po is that JOs and COs are not covered sa amin. No, it's under the ambit of COA and DBM. So yun lang po yung limitation ng CSC dyan. Meaning to say, it's not under our jurisdiction po.
Yes, I understand, Chair. But if the CSC has not opposed, and I'm glad to hear that, if the Commission has not opposed the inclusion of these workers, these women workers, men as well, because the law includes a PASA leave to fathers, if the Commission has not opposed this inclusion of these workers within the coverage of the said law, how will or how could the CSC ensure that workers covered by JOs and COSs enjoy all the benefits workers are entitled to by law? Kahit halimbawa in terms of making representation for them sa COA at DBM po.
Like I said, Madam Chair, there's an ongoing discussion now between COA and DBM, no? Of course, we're mindful that JOs and COs are covered, can be classified as the informal sector, and therefore the benefits that accrue to them are based on the SSS law and the SSS benefits. But again, it is something that I think it's ripe for discussion already, since ang deadline or ang expiration po nung sa latest issuance ng DBM at ng COA is December 31 of this year. So maganda mapag-usapan na rin po yung mga benefits, that other additional benefits that can accrue or may accrue para sa mga JOs and COs.
Salamat kaayo, Chair. It's at the very least, it's always good to hear that something is ripe for discussion, kasi at least kung pag-uusapan man lang, then it becomes visible sa public or sa government conversation. Moving now to ILO Convention 151, otherwise known as the Public Service Labor Relations Convention. It's been 5 years po since the Senate ratified this ILO Convention. I filed Senate Bill 587, or the Public Service Relations Act, as part of my commitment to honor ILO 151, which, among others, grants workers in the public sector the right to organize, equitably settle disputes, and participate in the determination of the terms and conditions of their employment. So may I know, Chair, how the CSC intends to implement ILO Convention 151 for the benefit of workers employed in the country's public sector? And in addition, will the CSC lobby for the passage of enabling legislation for ILO Convention 151? Dahil yun po yung obligasyon na ibinigay sa amin when our country ratified the convention. Kailangan magpasa kami nitong enabling law.
Yes, meron po kaming office sa CSC called the HRRO, and one of the responsibilities and functions of that office is to process itong accreditation ng mga workers organizations in government that passes through us sa commission, and yours truly, ako po yung may pirma ng ating pag-accredit ng mga workers organizations na yan. And since I sat, one of the first papers or issuances that I signed as soon as I sat as chair of CSC were those accreditation papers. So we continue to accredit mga workers organizations in government. We continue to also help them in their CNA, collective negotiation agreements. We continue to recognize them. They pass through a process, and our HRR office is very active, in checking all the papers and making sure that everything's in order before I sign them. And of course, we are supportive of any moves ng Congress, ng Senate, to strengthen yung mga rights ng ating mga workers in government.
Including, Chair, yung pagpasa ng enabling law sa ILO Convention 151?
Yeah, Madam Chair, like I said, we support the right to organize, the right to negotiate for benefits. CSC supports public sector unionism.
Salamat po. And I'm not mistaken in interpreting that as kapag dininig na yung bill ko at ng mga kasama, mga colleagues, it will officially receive the support. They will officially receive the support of CSC.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Salamat kaayo. Now, sir, on the National Government Right Sizing Program, during the State of the Nation address, the President identified the NGRP as a priority legislative measure. May we know the position of the chair on this program and the rationale behind the position of the chair, or which the chair has chosen to adopt, and what legal basis will be used to support the implementation of such a program?
Well, we believe, Madam Chair, that part and parcel of the presidential prerogative is to organize the executive branch, to organize the offices under the executive branch. As we interpret it, the bill on right sizing is a measure to ensure that there are funds that can cover the reorganization of the executive branch. So it is primarily a way for Congress to ensure the availability of funds for such moves to reorganize the government. That being said, even without the right sizing law, there's already a Republic Act 6656, no, which deals with reorganization in government. And ang role po ng CSC has always been to ensure the welfare of government workers who are affected by reorganization. So we will continue to play that role. We will continue to make decisions, issue policy, make other issuances that protect the rights of our government workers in any reorganization, including the separation pay, which primarily I think is the most important part of the right-sizing bill now pending in Congress. For any affected worker, that they will be receiving their just compensation. But for us in the civil service, we will make sure that even when government agencies or offices are merged, if they're simplified, if there are any other movements because of government reorganization, then mapoproteksyonan po ang security of tenure ng ating mga government workers. And those who opt to leave government and take on the separation packages, that they will be justly compensated.
Salamat kay Mr. Chair. It's good to hear among all the points that the chair mentioned, also the commitment to protect security of tenure for those already enjoying it. In this regard, what is the current status of the implementation of the NGRP, and how much will this program cost or save or save?
I have not computed actually because again it's the bill will be coming from the legislators, and it will be something in terms of how much that would be under the Department of Budget and Management to compute.
It's fair enough, Mr. Chair. We will ask the department that when we hear the bill or bills. Kanina po sa opening remarks ng Chair, he mentioned core values of the CSC that he himself embraces, including excellence and integrity. Former UPNC PAG Dean Dr. Alex Brillantes noted that any right-sizing program should be anchored on more than economic justifications. Bagamat itatanong din namin yun pag dininig na yung mga bill, should be anchored on accountability, equity, and ethics as well. So how will the CSC, under the leadership of the chair, embed considerations of accountability, equity, and ethics in the design and implementation of the NGRP? If the chair would like to add to what he has already shared with the committee.
Perhaps well, ang limitations kasi ng CSE as a constitutional body is that we will make our representations when it goes to Congress, no? I foresee na pag pinag-usapan ito sa mga committees, both in the House and the Senate, then we will be asked our opinions. As it is, kami naman sa civil service, syempre, we've already made decisions, no, based on previous reorganizations done in other offices. Ang tinitingnan namin usually is if may comparable ba yung position na binigay sa kanya sa bagong posisyon, na magkakaroon ng priority muna yung pag-fill up ng mga new positions or comparable positions before getting from outside. Kami as a civil service, we also act on disciplinary cases. If disciplinary cases are filed against erring civil servants, pag may admin cases. So I believe siguro yung pinaka-role ng CSC in that regard would be when complaints are filed. Other than that, over and beyond the right sizing, ang ginagawa po namin is yung aming core values, we also try to instill them in our learning and development platforms. When we have learning and development initiatives for civil servants, we make sure to include those core values into those learning and development programs. So not on right sizing per se, but I believe that we can push for those core values to be imbibed and practiced by civil servants in the different functions that the civil service performs.
Salamat, Chair. So, kanina na pag-usapan na natin bahagya yung mga public sector union. So, has CSC initiated a consultative process with public sector unions and associations vis-a-vis the NGRP? And how will the CSC ensure that their concerns are considered in the program's implementation?
We continuously, even without the right sizing, Madam Chair, patuloy naman yung engagement ng CSC with the unions. Meron tayong tinatawag, we are a member, this representation is a member and chair of the PSLMC, the Public Sector Labor Management Council. We continue to engage them in different ways, no? Pag pinag-usapan ng right sizing, I'm sure we can also use the same avenues to discuss. I think many of the concerns ng those who will be affected by right sizing or those who are concerned about right sizing, and when I talk about workers' organizations and associations, we will have this, we can pursue this initiative, Madam Chair, to discuss their concerns through our avenues and the venues between the CSC through the PSLMC and the other venues and avenues that we have in engaging our workers' organizations.
I'm sure,
Thank
Chair,
you.
yung mga
May I
Yes, Madam
intercede?
Chair.
I think our Senate President has prepared lunch for both the House of Representatives and the Senate. So we're all hungry. Can we limit the questions to shorter questions? Thank you very much. Answers
Yes,
daw.
yes,
Thank
Madam Chair.
All right, Madam Chair. Ayoko namang deadmahin yung gutom natin. So, isang huling tanong na lang kay CSC Chair. And then, i-make of record ko na lang yung huling subject sana and would appreciate if the Chair would like to inform the committee about his response to that last subject. Kahit in writing na lang po, I mean, moving forward habang sila'y nag-chair na ng CSC with our confirmation. Sasabihin ko lang sana po kanina, Chair, Madam Chair, na I'm sure yung mga labor partners po namin sa PSLMC ay matutuwang marinig yung kasasabi nyo lamang and that they are also looking forward to continue engaging with the Chair, pati po dun sa magiging proseso ng NGRP. Kasi for one po in its update to its members, yung mismong Senado na public sector union dito sa Senate noted that the right sizing would result in a massive layoff. Yun yung concern po nila, thereby increasing our unemployment rate. And to quote their update, Chair, losing a job in this difficult time when people suffer from health and economic crisis is unjust and unbearable. So lastly na lang po, Chair, para sa inyong kaalaman, and if you would also like to inform us your response, tatanong ko rin sana yung CSC policy agenda na as the central human resource agency of the government, may we know your current assessment of human resource development in the bureaucracy. May we also know the current and future plans for human resource development and how to ensure that these plans result in an accountable and ethical bureaucracy. And lastly, ito, very interesting para sa akin and I'm sure para sa amin bilang legislators. There's ongoing conversation kasi, Chair, about the need to enact a civil service code as a counterpart to the private sector's labor code. So may we know, even if in writing after this hearing, if the Chair is open to the idea and what his guiding principles and recommendations will be. So daghang salamat, Chair Nograles. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Risa. Senator Tol, for your manifestation.
Thank you. This is not really a question, or perhaps this may lead to a question, but I'm in full support. I could have recused, I could have inhibited because the nominee here is my law school fraternity brother, but I cannot do away with my presence because I fully support his nomination as the new Civil Service Commission Chairman. But I have just two questions. Perhaps just one question for point five. Point five is part of your resume, Chairman Nograles. This is on page, it has something to do with your being a former Corps Commander while studying at the Philippine Science High School. Is that correct?
That's correct. Madam
And
Chair.
you earned a CAT Leadership Award. What is CAT? CAT? What is CAT?
Citizens Army Training. Your Honor.
Citizens Army Training. So you had the Citizens Army Training background, and my assumption is that you are in full support of the restoration of the ROTC.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you repeat that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, na yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
So having said that, my other point five is this. I have been receiving complaints from past cadets, parents of past cadets, and now PNP officers. Under the Pnpa regime, apparently there was an involvement of the Civil Service Commission. There is a Civil Service Commission Resolution 020122. This was not under your term. This was 2002, year 2002. Two questions, or a question was raised. Are Pnpa cadets subject to the civil service rules, or are they government employees? The Civil Service Commission ruled both issues must be answered in the negative. It led to the low moral condition of the Pnpa cadets for the last 2 decades. They are not recognized as government employees, and yet when they graduate, they will be police lieutenants. Are you aware of this?
No, Your Honor. I'm not aware of that resolution.
Yes. And a resolution of the Civil Service Commission can be reversed.
Yes, especially, Your Honor, since we are a new commission. All three of us are new members, obviously not members of the commission that passed that resolution.
Yes. So if it can be reversed, it can be modified, and change of circumstances probably can lead to a new resolution that will accept the Pnpa cadets as government employees. In fact, they are receiving salaries. They are receiving emoluments, honorarium, etc., etc. They are using government facilities. Like the Philippine Military Academy cadets, they are considered government employees. Perhaps, Your Honor, if confirmed, can do something to initiate a reversal motu proprio of this unfair ruling. In behalf of our PNPA cadets, those cadets who studied in 2002 are now perhaps colonels or higher or generals. Some of them might have retired. So do we see can we foresee an initiative coming from your end, if confirmed, to reverse this deplorable and perhaps unacceptable Civil Service Commission resolution? In behalf of our PNPA cadets, you being also a pro-ROTC government official.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm joined here this morning by our two
No, but
commissioners.
my answer is, my
So
request is
we
just for a
are-
yes or no.
Yes,
Yes.
we will review. We will review, Madam Chair.
Yes. So my last 0.5 question, Madam Chair, is this. Since our good nominee, my dear fraternity Brad, like your dad, is always looking beyond, forward-looking, so to speak. Is there a possibility you have a good think tank group in your civil service commission, plethora of forward-looking bureaucrats? Is there a possibility of enticing, making our ROTC corps commanders and the other junior officers as civil service employees with